is time for a new Cowboys mock draft after the Joe Milton trade. The picks have changed, so we wanted to address that. We have a fan-led mock draft coming next week. The trade, hopefully getting our draft graphics set up. I want to push that back a week, so next Thursday is our planning on that. Plus, we'll have live draft coverage. So if you haven't already, hit that sub button right now. So following the Joe Milton trade, these are the Cowboys draft picks. Round 1, pick 12. Round 2, pick 44. Round 3, pick 76. Round 5, 149. Round 5, 174. Round 6, 204. Round 6, 211. Round 7, 217 from the Patriots. Round 7, 239. And round 7, 247. So a lot of day 3 picks. 3 into the top 148. We used the PFF sim on this one. Here were the sim picks. Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, Will Campbell. Some of you at least upset by number 6, Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders, but also probably not surprised. Armand Membu goes 7. Jahdae Barron goes 8. Tyler Warren goes 9. Mason Graham fell to 10. Bears took him. And Teteroa McMillan went number 11 to the 49ers. I'd be surprised by it, but it's what happened on this one. So the Cowboys at 12 could go with Mike Green or Jiad Campbell or Deone Walker as front 4 players / front 7 players. Matthew Golden and all the other wide receivers are there. Josh Simmons, all the other offensive tackles are there. And Will Johnson is there. So too is Micah Williams, by the way. I think this is a good chance to explore what the no receiver in round 1 mock draft could look like. So we'll pass on trading down and taking a Golden or an Ibuka, which we might do later, by the way. I would much rather see them take Will Johnson, the cornerback out of Michigan, in round 1 at pick 12 over Micah Williams, or I would argue reaching on a wide receiver for what the Cowboys looking for there. I think Will Johnson also fills a massive need for the Dallas Cowboys. He wasn't as good in 2024. He only played 6 games. Now, he had 2 picks in those 6 games, one of which was a pick 6, but you can go back to 2023. You can go back to 2022. And there's a reason why this guy was so consistently mocked in the top 3, in the top 5. He was a day 1 friggin' good starter at Michigan. He was awesome. I think you add Will Johnson, who reminds me of Xavier Howard. I don't see some 4.6 40-yard dash corner. He might be in the low 4.5s. I think he's very fluid, though, as an athlete. As long as the medical stuff checks out, I think he as a pure cover corner, which Hunter is a hybrid, so we'll ignore him. We'll leave him off here. I think he is a legitimate number 1 corner in this class. And with Barron off the board, I think that's a great pick by the Dallas Cowboys. And I think it's way better than Micah Williams, too. So will the Cowboys draft a wide receiver in round 1? Which I think if I had to, betting man, odds, I think that'd make receiver the favorite in the end. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Will the Cowboys draft a receiver in the first round? It's the pinned comment. Go vote if the ad comes here on YouTube. So the round 2 sim picks. Landon Jackson's off the board. Caleb Johnson and Travion Henderson are off the board, by the way. TJ Sanders is gone. Jack Besh is gone at 38. My boy Alec Aomanor is off the board too. So I'm going to do something different. I'm going to trade down from 44. The receivers are not great. Out they go here. I think another back or 2 will slide for me. I'm going to trade down with the Bengals. And doing this on the PFF sim allows me to recoup that 4th round pick. Now I have that extra 4th rounder. I don't have to go from 76 to 149. Now I can move down and get an additional 4th rounder. And it happened to be a massive run on corners. Trey Amos, Savin Revel off the board. Jaden Higgins, Maxwell Harrison, Princely Uman-Mielen. I'm not that mad at corners going off the board because I get to take still the best running back who was left. And that's Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State. I would kind of prefer Travion Henderson. He's gone in this scenario anyway, so it doesn't really end up mattering. This is a potential lead back for the Dallas Cowboys, who I was, especially in the CFP run, impressed by him. The athletic testing and the size is actually pretty similar to a former Cowboy, Marion Barber. Now, I don't think Judkins consistently runs with the same level of violence, but the testing was as good as I could have hoped for. He has good hands. When he chooses to run with violence like he did back in 2022, it's very impressive. I think he is a physical runner. He has a knack for finding the end zone. He had 14 touchdowns on the ground this year. He had 15 in 2023, 16 in 2022. I have a second-round grade on him. You trade that and you get it back. A guy could be your lead back. There you go. So do you like the idea, at least, of moving down in round 2? Y for yes, N for no. Sound off for me in the comments section of today's show. By the way, some other players who were still on the board at that time, Xavier Watts was there, JT Tuimoloau. If you wanted a linebacker, Carson Schwessinger was there. Omar Norman Lott was there, but he's a pass rusher, I think, almost only. The next best back was Cam Scadaboo, by the way. So you've got, for me, it's pretty easily Judkins over Scadaboo. So round 3, the one that hurt was Alfred Collins at 70. That one I would have been a big fan of because I think that would have helped really solidify your run stopping on the interior. I would have very much liked that pick. But there is a receiver who's there for me. Round 3, pick 78, Tre Harris. I think this is the type of receiver you could use, especially if you don't take receiver in round 1. This is a good day 2 target. He had 17.2 yards per catch this year. He was 18.2 last year. He was mostly on the outside, but he's done some slot as well. He tested the way I think you wanted someone to test at his size. There's some Cortland Sutton to his game. Now, the offense was not a pro-style offense. It was a lot of go route, slant route, hitch route, post route, but he cooked a lot of defenses. He did that in 8 games, by the way. Went for 1,000 yards. It's really good. If you value the yards per route run statistic, which not everyone does, at 5.2 yards per route run, which is obscene. But the year before that was still 3.17, which is also good. I see big body, vertical threat on the outside. Get that guy in the 3rd round. I think it's good value for the Dallas Cowboys. Others who are on the board, I was tempted by the 2 defensive tackles, CJ West, Jordan Phillips, but I can find a run stopper later. I did not want to gamble and wait on a receiver and hope that like Jalen Royals was there in the 4th. That's not really the route I wanted to go. So I went with the receiver instead. Now, the NFL draft hats are available from our friends over at Fanatics. They have the America's Team pin, by the way. Different colors, styles, fits in terms of like the snapback and the fitted and everything else and flat brims. They've got you covered there. A lot of variety in this year's draft hats. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. You can also get the hoodie. That is a new option for this year's draft gear. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. It is chatsports.com/draft. We'll also have a clickable link for you over there in the bottom corner. chatsports.com/Cowboys draft. Round 4, let's take a gamble since we have an extra pick in the top 150 to play with. Deone Walker out of Kentucky. This is a unique prospect. You don't find 6'7", 330-pounders with 34-inch arms who move the way Deone Walker does. Now, he had a down year this season. He went from 55 tackles and 13 TFLs and 7.5 sacks with 51 pressures down to 37, 5, a sack and a half, 22 pressures. At times, it seemed like he was just not fully locked in. The entire Kentucky defense struggled this year. He was a big reason why they were competitive against Georgia and had that game going on. The other part is this. He had a back issue. He had a fracture on his vertebrae that he played through. Sounds like he didn't require surgery. This is a massive boom or bust potential pick here. There is a lot of upside of he can play from the 0 tech out to the 9 tech. I mean, shit, Kentucky dropped him into coverage at times. And it worked. The upside is truly elite. Or he flames out of the NFL. In the 4th round, it's a worthwhile gamble for me. Others who are on the board. Hey, Will Howard was there. Quarterback not an option now. If you wanted to wait on a running back, you could have taken Jaden Blue. If Walker wasn't there, I probably would have taken Antoine Powell Ryland. I am higher on him than I think anybody else around the NFL. He might crack my top 50. He doesn't have the length the Cowboys liked. I think that's why I didn't do it in the end. I think he is the most underrated player in the NFL draft. Round 5, pick 149. I was a little surprised he fell here, but Danny Stutsman, the linebacker out of Oklahoma. I think there's really great value here for Stutsman. I don't know if he's the most consistent coverage player necessarily, but he's a good run stopper. He's got some throwback linebacker to his game. I think he fits what Matt Eberflus would like. I think he's top 100-esque player, so at 149, great pick. The other 5th rounder is Emory Jones, who's tackle, maybe just a guard out of LSU. He had been in a bunch of round 1 mock drafts, and then he kind of got picked apart, and then also just wasn't as good this year. He might end up being a guard in the NFL. He might be better sort of kicking on the inside where you can cover up some of the penalty issues and some of the pressure issues, but you're adding to the offensive line, and in general, I would like to spend a pick on an offensive lineman pretty much every year. Sometimes double dipping. You can go top 100, non-top 100. In this case, it's a little bit tough for Dallas to add another top 100 pick at offensive line because they took 2 last year. So name a day 3 NFL draft target that you would like to see the Cowboys get. Any player, any position, let me know in the comments section of today's show. I've got another, it's kind of weird. I think you can assign the sleeper tag to Quandarius Quay Robinson. He is a physically gifted pass rusher. He's 6'4", 243, 33.5-inch arms. He had a 17.6% pressure rate. He didn't play a lot. That's why he's a sleeper. He was a top 100 recruit who just never really got on the field. But at minimum, he had nearly 700 special team snaps at Alabama. So at minimum, you're getting a core special teamer. I think it's a valid question of okay, if you couldn't develop and get on the field at Alabama, is that going to happen in the NFL? But I think that floor for special teams allows you more time to try to develop him as a pass rusher. Round 6, Dante Trader, the safety out of Maryland. I think this is a kind of number 3, number 4 safety who can do some strong, can do some free, played a little bit at nickel. Also was an All-American lacrosse player, by the way. So I guess he's safety Chris Hogan is the comp there. Also, again, special team stuff. The athletic ability is not great, which is a huge red flag. But I think with all these picks, that late sixth rounder, core special teamer, 5th safety on your roster, I can't complain too much about that one. Fentrell Cypress, cornerback from FSU, here in round 7. This is the other FSU corner who does have the traits the Cowboys like. He hasn't always been the most productive player. Again, that's why he's available in the 7th round. But the Cowboys love long arm corners. Cypress has pretty solid length. And I would not be surprised if a spot like corner and a spot like maybe running back is where the Cowboys choose to double dip. You have 10 picks and not many UDFA spots left right now. So in round 7, the final 7th round pick here, Jaquavius Marks out of USC. I think there's great pass catching value here. Judkins is the elite, is kind of the lead back. Woody Marks is his nickname. Can emerge as a third down pass catching back. He was better this past year at USC. Ran for over 1,000 yards. He wasn't as involved as a runner early in his career for Mississippi State. He was a pass catcher. He had a bunch of catches. He can do that stuff for you, which I think makes it a logical 7th round flyer in the end. So grade this Cowboys mock draft, and we'll go through it one time. A, B, C, D, or F. So to recap this Cowboys mock draft, the don't take receiver in round 1 scenario because T-Mac's off the board. Will Johnson, round 1, pick 12, instant impact corner. Huge fan of his game. Round 2, pick 49 after a trade down, Quinshon Judkins, best running back left on the board. Early down lead back for the Cowboys. Round 3, pick 76, Tre Harris, give the Cowboys some actual reliable vertical threat, big playability on the outside. That extra 4th rounder we got in the trade down, pick 119, Deone Walker. It's a gamble, but at 119, it's a worthwhile one of a physically gifted but scary prospect to take. Round 5, 149. Danny Stutsman was there in the sim, linebacker from Oklahoma. Loved the value there. I think he's a good Eberflus-style linebacker. Round 5, pick 174. Emory Jones, who might be a guard in the NFL, but I want to get at least one lineman out of this draft for the Cowboys, even if it is a backup. Round 6, Quay Robinson, who hasn't played a lot, but when he played was kind of good for Alabama, has elite special teams background. Same with Dante Trader, the safety out of Maryland. Round 6, pick 211. Ventrell Cypress, the cornerback out of FSU, fits the Cowboys' typical length desires. He's at round 7, 217. And round 7, 239, because we flipped the other 7th in the trade. Woody Marks, given the Cowboys at a USC, giving the Cowboys another option in the backfield. They can double dip at that spot.